Everybody wants bigger biceps. What we tend to forget is that the biceps are not very, very big muscles. In fact, they only comprise about a third of the arm. And if you want big arms, you really should be focusing on the triceps. But I wanted to do a demo here of the biceps. And one of the things you want to do, you want to keep your hands about shoulder width apart. And we want to make sure that the weight is constructive. We don't want to make it too heavy. We don't want to make it too light. We want it to be able to focus on just getting a good pump in the arm. So there's a perfect weight, so to speak. One that feels like you're pumping iron. You're not straining to get it up, but you have an element of control over the weights. And so it's best to start off with a lighter weight. And you can see my elbows are in a fixed position. Okay, a lot of people like to keep their elbows back here, and if I find that my elbows are back here, I'm going to be pulling with the rest of my body. You see that? And my arms are not getting a complete extension. So I like to keep my elbows in a fixed position, sort of at my sides, and then I continue to pull up right about here. Okay? And as you can see, this is where my biceps are getting the maximum tension. As the weight comes up too high, now I'm resting. What I want to do is kind of keep a little bit of tension on the arms by keeping the bar not all the way up to my chest, because you can see here, it's off my biceps, okay? If I keep constant tension, and I keep the weights right about here. So it's, I would say it's about an 80% movement. So we start down here, and we start pulling. Now, one of the tricks that I've learned is at the bottom of this exercise, if I keep my hands relatively relaxed, I'm going to feel the tension in my biceps from the very beginning. If I grip really hard, I'm going to find that I'm going to absorb all the tension in this area. And that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get some tension right in the biceps. So it's kind of a challenge to have weights in your hands and at the same time keep your hands relaxed. But as you can see, my hands are relaxed. And they're almost relaxed right about here too. And so we're pulling up, nice and concentrated, holding the weights about here, elbows in a fixed position, exhale here, inhale down here. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. This is how they did it in the 70s. But we don't want to hurt our backs, okay? So the goal here is to put a nice element of concentration in the biceps, get them going, and kind of feel like you're pumping iron and at the same time not feel too stressed, but just hitting a nice element of concentration right in the biceps. And being from New York, a lot of folks I know have these very go-get-it type of personalities. And I find that everyone I see in the gym happens to be overtrained and undernourished. And because we want to excel, a lot of us put a lot of our energy into the body parts that we want to grow without giving them enough rest. And this is specifically necessary when working the biceps. We want them to grow because we think that they look great, a good part of a physique, but at the same time, it's important to not overtrain them. And as a matter of fact, I actually like to train my biceps only once per week. On that day, one week, I'll hit them extremely hard, and the next week I'll do about a 75%. And it's worked for me, okay? And I've been working on it about 20 years, I've done this in a natural fashion, and I think that training is becoming very, very complex these days. And I like to go back and look at the fundamentals of bodybuilding, and it seems as though you can never go wrong when you're using a lot of concentration, trying to feel the tension that you are trying to get in that body part alone while keeping every other body part at the same time relaxed. So I'm going to do one more set because this is feeling pretty good. Guys, I'm telling you, I know this is hard to swallow because you're all trying to really get as big as possible and look awesome, get shredded, and you got the bodybuilder spirit. But I'm going to tell you one piece of advice that I've learned over the past 20 years. You don't want to overtrain. It's amazing that I have so many friends who go on vacation, they'll go to the Bahamas, and they'll do nothing but drink and eat for a week. They come back, and everybody says, "You look awesome. What'd you do?" I said, "Nothing. I drank and I ate for a week." It's because they let their body relax and they let it heal. They look so much better. It's really fascinating. If you ever get a chance to watch the movie Pumping Iron, you'll see the different style of how Lou Ferrigno approached bodybuilding versus Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it was obvious that Lou was putting everything into his training, and Arnold approached it from a very different perspective. Arnold was actually training with joy, and it appeared to me that Lou was actually training with this element of ferocity that was getting absorbed into his body. The training was obvious that he was overdoing it and depleted, whereas Arnold came in very relaxed. His body looked amazing, rested, well-trained, and that's how you want to look. So, have you ever heard the term less is more? I know it sounds crazy, but with respect to bodybuilding, a little less can add up and help your physique look amazing. And especially if you're training naturally, you have to let your body heal in order to grow. So I'm going to do one more set just to remind everybody how to do these biceps. One more trick, guys. I've done some fitness videos, and some people make reference to the peak on the biceps. And somebody says, well, you can't get a peak on your biceps if you don't do these specific exercises, or it's a genetic thing. And one of the things I can say to bodybuilders and people who look to me for my training advice, not that I know everything, this is a learning process. Bodybuilding is an art as well as a science. And I think the thing is to try to keep an open mind and try to learn as much as possible. But with respect to peak, I think it's possible to change the shape of your arms. And don't get pigeonholed into saying, my genetics won't allow me to do such and such. I don't really buy that. Of course, we have all genetic limitations. I wish I was 6'3", but I'm not. And I can't stretch myself. But I think there are ways to sort of change the shape of your body. And one of the ways that I've found, at least for me, helping with the peak on the biceps, is actually very simple flexing. Very similar to flexing if you were on stage competing at a show. Very similar to how you guys are probably flexing in the mirror right before you're going on a date or whatever. But one of the things that's helped me improve my peak is very, very concentrated flexing. Now when you flex your arm and you do something like this, you're kind of showing it. But I think that there's another level of flexing. There's a way to kind of allow your mind to push this 1 degree further, and you can actually feel the intensity in the bicep when you flex, and then there's another level, if you will, of allowing this to flex, and you can almost keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then take your wrist and push it this way, and you can feel as if the bicep is sort of changing and moving. And I know it sounds crazy, but we're on a pursuit to do whatever we can do to make our physiques look better. Obviously, a peaked bicep looks terrific, and I found that I get that sensation, and it feels as though, when I'm doing this, it feels as though my arm is growing in this direction. And maybe you want to give that a try, especially after you finish your bicep.